The Government of Belize has agreed to compensate stevedores at the Port of Belize Limited for injuries caused as a result of the privatization of the company back in January 2002, 20 years ago.
The essence of the agreement is that the government acknowledging that privatization has had an impact on our members, offered an ex gratia payment initially.
An officially signed Memorandum of Understanding reveals that G.O.B agreed to make a payment of $1.5 million. This is to be paid by February 28th. Also included is a commitment by the Government of Belize to amend the Belize Social Security Act to ensure that Social Security benefits and contributions are paid and payable to stevedores. Thirdly, the government has agreed to commence negotiations regarding possible payment to stevedores for injuries suffered by the police department during a peaceful protest on July 2020.
Because one would want to justify the union receiving $1.5 million, what are those injuries suffered referred to? Would you give examples or explanation?
So I think it's important to look at this and call it what it is. That while I cannot speak for government, I can speak to what we believe it is, that it is reconciliation. It is reconciliation that really doesn't cover what our members have lost. Essentially, it is ointment on an amputated leg. Because when we do the maths, our members have lost out on future earnings of when we put together direct earnings and then retirement benefits. We are looking near $30 million. That's what they have lost.
It is $1.5 million out of the public's coffers that will be divided between 160 stevedores for an estimated $10,000 each.
For us, the fact that it's even referred to, acknowledge that privatization is the original sin, that is of significant value to us. And when that, remember now, $1.5 million is going to be shared between almost 160 men. And it's again not to make any kind of not to try to downplay what that represents. That's the people's money. But ultimately, people cannot be left with this view that, well, okay, stevedores have been enriched by this. That's not what's happening here.
That's $15,000 a person.
That works out to roughly about, I would say about $10,000 per person when we do the maths. So what, well, I don't know if in your world that makes you rich, Brother Lopez, but we are talking here about members who are accustomed to making $30,000, $35,000 a year, whose earnings have been reduced to about $18,000, $19,000 a year. So, and that's every year, going on forward.
It is one victory for the union and their stevedore membership in the grander scheme of things. But the C.W.U has agreed to reopen the collective bargaining agreement signed only 3 months ago, in effect, to renegotiate a matter already agreed to.
One of those conditions is that we are at work. Another one of those conditions is that we are to open up our CBA and negotiate a matter that we agreed to in 2020, and that is the hours of work. It is highly unusual, and usually under normal circumstances, it's not something that we would agree to do. But again, because we are trying to create a better and more stable climate, we have accepted that condition to negotiate with good faith and to make every reasonable effort to find a solution that works, that remedies efficiency, while at the same time not causing any distress or losses from our members.
Hyde noted that the $1.5 million ex gratia payment is not a substitute for the loss of sugar. Payment under the redundancy package must still be discussed in accordance with the recent ruling by the Essential Services Tribunal. Hyde says the union is committed to maintaining stability at the port throughout these negotiations.
As we have said to the employer in our conversation, that we might not love each other, we might not like each other, but our earnings depend on each other, and we have to work it out. And so again, we are saying that between now and the next CBA process, we have no intentions of industrial action. That is my position to all involved, and I'm stating it publicly. So let now those people who have judged us the way they have judged us and tried to create a situation where we are responsible for high prices, we are jeopardizing the prices at the grocery stores, let them now look at us and say, we are moving towards peace.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.